Hey guys, like I promised in my last video, today we're going to use the braised oxtail I had left from the oxtail glaze. Click on the link if you want to see it. We're going to make a carrot beignet that's filled with the braised oxtail, a salted mandarin peel gel, and we're serving it with some delicious Australian black winter truffle. So, let's begin.
First, the salted mandarins. Start by cutting 12 mandarins in 4, but keep the mandarins attached at the base, so don't cut all the way through. Now fill the gaps with a generous amount of coarse salt and then transfer them into a preserving jar. Give them a good push to ensure every gap is filled. Then close the lid with a sealing ring and keep it in your fridge for at least 2 months. Every week you need to give the jar a little shake to ensure everything stays covered with the salt. Now it's been 3 months and the mandarins have such a powerful and delicious smell. You can keep them for months in your fridge. Then take a couple of the mandarins out of the jar and remove the inside. Now use a sharp knife to shave any white membranes off. These are bitter. Keep the inside of the mandarin for later. It's very salty, but it's a great way to season other recipes. The peel you can cut into a very fine brunoise and then keep it in your fridge for later. Now for the oxtail. First we need to brine the oxtail. Mix 3 liters of water with 120 grams of nitrate salt and mix it well to dissolve the salt. Then add 2 kilograms of oxtail and make sure everything is submerged. Now let this brine for 24 hours in your fridge. After that, drain the liquid and let the oxtail sit for at least 30 minutes to remove as much water as possible. Then add a drizzle of oil to a hot pan and pan fry the oxtail till golden brown on all sides. This is going to take some time, but the flavor is so good. Now take them out of the pan and continue pan frying the remaining oxtail. Meanwhile, take 3 shallots, cut them in half, clean them and chop them. Then remove the last oxtail from the pan and pan fry the shallots. Also add 5 cloves of garlic that are cut in half. Once they start to color, deglaze the pan with some beef stock and let it simmer for 2 minutes. Then pour it into a big pot, add the oxtail and submerge it completely with beef stock. Finally add 4 bay leaves and then bring it to a boil. Once it's boiling, cover the top with a piece of parchment paper or a lid and transfer the pot into an oven. Cook it at 85 degrees Celsius for at least 14 hours. The next day you can remove the parchment paper and gently take the oxtail out of the broth. Let them cool down for 5 minutes and then remove the meat from the bones and fat. Set the meat aside for later. After that, pass the liquid through a fine sieve and reduce the broth till it has reached the desired flavor. While reducing, use a ladle to remove any fat that's floating on top. When that's done, pass it through a super fine sieve once more.
So the broth is done and it's absolutely delicious. It's super rich, it's very powerful, and we might need to balance it out. Let's just have a little taste. You can see it's super clear and yeah, like I said, it's spot on. It's so delicious. It's rich because of all the gelatin in the broth. It's a bit sticky as well. And I want to balance out a bit of that richness, sorry. And I'm just going to add a touch of a ponzu vinegar. And what that does, it balances out all the heavy flavors and it gives it a fresh touch. Let's just call it that. And that makes it a lot more accessible and not that heavy, but still so good and so flavorful. That's perfect.
We're going to use it to season the oxtail and to make the beignet better. First, add a mandarin brunoise or plain mandarin peel and add a drizzle of the delicious broth. Now mix this well and then give it a taste for seasoning. Then portion it into small bowls and keep it in your fridge for later. Now for the mandarin peel gel. First, peel enough mandarins for 80 grams of peel. A mandarin can be quite hard to peel, so just put your peeler on top and zigzag the peeler for a super thin peel without any of the bitter white membranes. Then bring some water to a boil and blanch the peels for 15 seconds. After that, drain the water and submerge the peels completely with new water. Now boil the water again for 15 seconds and then repeat this process once more. Meanwhile, cut the peeled mandarins in half and juice them for 220 grams of juice. Then add the blanched peels, 6 grams of the salted mandarin pulp or 4 grams of salt, 50 grams of ginger syrup and 4 grams of agar powder. Now blend this till completely smooth. Then pour it into a saucepan and bring this to a boil for 1 minute. Stir it every now and then to prevent it from burning. Then pour it into a bowl and let it cool down completely in your fridge. Once set, transfer it into a blender and blend it into a smooth gel. Then transfer it into a piping bottle and keep it in your fridge for later. Now we're doing a little experiment with the peeled and juiced mandarins, because I'm going to try to use them to make a delicious Korean syrup called chung. Normally you would throw out peeled and juiced citrus, but I think that this could be a great way to use all the flavor. Measure the mandarin and add 1 part of sugar for every part of mandarin. Now transfer it into a preserving jar and give it a good push. Then let it sit in your fridge for at least 2 weeks. Like I said, this is an experiment, so stay tuned for the result. Now for the beignet batter. First peel 2 big carrots and trim the sides. Then lay them on some aluminium foil and drizzle some oil on top. Now wrap them very tightly with the foil and cook them in an oven at 180 degrees Celsius for 1 hour. After that, remove the foil and let them cool down for 5 minutes. Then cut them in smaller pieces and transfer 150 grams into a measuring jar. Also add 180 grams of the oxtail broth, 2 eggs and 4 grams of salt. Now blend this till completely smooth. Then mix 240 grams of flour with 30 grams of cornstarch and while stirring also add the smooth mixture. Once it's completely smooth, directly stop mixing to prevent too much gluten from forming. Then transfer it into a siphon and charge it with 2 charges. Shake it well after each charge. Now let it set overnight in your fridge. Then we can start to finish the beignets. First heat up a small ladle in frying oil that's 180 degrees Celsius. Now remove any excess oil and fill the ladle halfway with the batter. Then press the oxtail in the batter and cover it completely with the batter. Now submerge the ladle in the oil and deep fry them till golden brown on all sides. They are best served straight away, but you can also pre-make them and heat them up in an oven at 180 degrees Celsius for 3 to 4 minutes. Just look at that, it's so good. Now place a beignet in the middle of a plate and drizzle some of the mandarin peel gel on top. And then we finish it off with some thin slices of Australian winter truffle. You can also use summer truffle. It's not going to be the same, but the price is much lower.
Okay guys, that's it for today. I am very happy with the result. The beignets look absolutely delicious. It's crispy if you give it a little push. Yeah, it's crispy, but it's still soft on the inside. The oxtail on the inside, yeah, it's amazing. And then in combination with the salty mandarin peel gel, it's still very fresh though. And that truffle, I think it's gonna be golden. That's so good. That's really a combination made in heaven. It's so delicious. The oxtail, the braised oxtail with the Australian winter truffle, the carrot beignet. It's hot on the inside. It's crispy. It's got everything. So it's super well balanced in flavor, in texture, temperature as well, and it looks great. So definitely a big winner. Yeah, not much to say on it. So guys, like I said, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Like and share the video and subscribe if you want to learn more great recipes and if you want to support my channel. And as always, bon appetit!